joining me today. It's such a pleasure and an honor to finally have you here as a guest on my channel.
Thank you, Maggie. It's an honor to be here. I'm very happy that we've been able to finally connect and just share such a lovely topic as Lilith. A fun tidbit. I'm about 50 feet away from a church. So this topic is being discussed in an area where it could be controversial, but I think it was meant to be that way because this wasn't my first choice location. So things kind of happened this way.
Okay, that is very interesting. And another thing that I find interesting is how I thought of you for this interview. I was doing some work on my computer, not thinking about interviews or anything else. I was doing something unrelated. And there you were in my mind's eye, like blazing you, and that I should interview you for this Lilith series. And so I messaged you because I had been wanting to have you on my channel for some time. And you had said that you weren't surprised because you had given an offering to Lilith.
Correct. And what are the odds that as soon as I finished my offering, you messaged me?
Yeah.
So definitely a connection.
Yes. And, you know, that's amazing. So I know the timing for this happened the way it was supposed to be.
I agree.
And we worked together before when I first started my channel for the Lucifer Inn.
Yes.
So that was amazing. You did the graphics for that, which is so beautiful. So thank you for doing that. And now I have you here.
You're very welcome.
And we can see the man behind all the beautiful imagery that you create.
All the media that I do and a lot of the images, videos, everything is always first in honor of the ancients. And if they're able to reach out to your viewers and then the people that follow me, that's very empowering in all facets of life and dimensions and everything, because it allows people to connect with them.
It really does. And that the work that you do is beautiful. And I have to correct myself. I think it was the Bune chant that we worked on together. It just popped in my head, not Lucifer. So yes. Yes. So, and that was a great honor to work with you and a way to give that praise to Bune. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not be familiar with who you are?
Sure. So my name is Dahab. I'm actually part of Black Dragon Mortalis, which is a occult left-hand path awareness group. And I've been actually online spreading a lot of left-hand path messages for many years, different channels. But took a break, decided to come back with this group and just share my insight, share my perspectives, and help others connect with the ancients.
That's awesome. So what made you decide to first start working with Lilith to begin with?
So that's a great question. So with Lilith, the first time that I connected with her actually wasn't in that classic form of Lilith. Is actually through Kali. Way back when, many years ago, I was practicing with occult, and I had an image of Kali on my altar, and I decided to just do an offering for her one day. Had some incense, candles, things like that, and I never really thought that she would have some impact in my life from that point. I began researching more about who she was through Kali, understanding the connections that were there between her aspect of being the Dark Mother, of being that dark feminine energy that I tend to gravitate to a lot. And I decided to work with her in conjunction with Shiva. Those two were kind of the main deities that I was connecting with at that point in my life. So I began to do my research, and I found a book through Baal Karman, which I'm sure you know who that is. Yeah. And his book, it's called Kali, Dark Mother. I have to find the actual link, that way you can see what that book is. And it's a very, very easy book. It goes through some rituals, it goes through some incantations, mantras, things that you can do. And it was at that point that I had the first interactive experience with Kali slash Lilith. And I was able to see her dancing and feel her energy physically on my altar. Wow. It was amazing. It was amazing. So from that point forward, I said, okay, if this is how I can connect with that energy through Kali, I'm going to continue that. And then as I evolved and my gnosis grew, I gravitated more towards her classic form. And from that point forward, I've just been connecting with her here and there ever since.
Nice. That's really fascinating. Very interesting. How has working with Lilith helped you as an individual?
Ooh, okay. That's a great question. So it has helped me connect very deeply with the dark feminine aspect of duality. As a male, you know, sometimes we gravitate more towards that male energy, and I do, as you know, I connect with Lucifer, King Primal, and Beelzebub. But there wasn't really that dark feminine energy that I can put in my balance, and balance is key. So by having Lilith and also Astaroth, I'm able to really tap into both dimensions. And with Lilith, she actually connects with me through others, which is very, very interesting, because although I may not have that direct link, she's still part of my life through others. And I'm able to understand more, to see more, have a better understanding of a feminine perspective of being in this path, which then gives me more of a foundation.
Awesome. Wow, that's really insightful. When you first, well, I think you've already answered this in a way, but the usual question that I ask people is, when you first started working with Lilith, did you have any preconceived ideas about her that either changed or were verified as a result of engaging in a practice with her?
Well, yes, I think that as we are discovering this path, you tend to have a mix of fear, doubt, and also curiosity. And I think those three emotions were big when I started working with Lilith and just learning who she was. When I first began working in this path, I had a lot of preconceived ideas of who the ancients were, what they represented, who worked with them. You know, we have the stigma, and media has a lot to do with that, of how we think that they look like, or they behave and things like that. And I had that type of mindset in the beginning, but as I began working with her and just seeing that there was just love and there was passion, obviously, there was a lot of fire energy that actually helped me then understand more about her and just see that she was not this weird dark energy, and by dark I mean quote unquote dark evil, that they tend to put out there. She's very inviting. She wants to help many individuals, but a very interesting point is that she also helps men. And we tend to have that also conception that she only works with females, and that's not the case. She works with males too, because she works with me and she works with others. So she's very warm in that sense, that she wants to help. And if we're open to those messages and we're able to then work on that, then we can have a awesome connection with her.
Absolutely. And that's been my experience as well, working with Lilith. She does not care about gender at all. She chooses who she chooses. Some people say that Lilith is not a goddess that you go seeking out, but it is best to wait for her to present herself to you if she's interested. Do you have anything to add to that? Your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. Actually, I think that's the way the ancients work in general. That's why we have to always be mindful. We have to always keep our ears open, our mind open, our spirits open, because we have a lot of messages that come to us. They come to us physically, subliminally, and we have to be open to that. So if Lilith wants to work with you, she will reach out to you. And if you don't listen, she'll make a way for you to understand and to actually listen to that connection. I've had that experience with Beelzebub lately. And yeah, so with Lilith, you know, as long as you're also open to work with her, she will reach out to you.
How do you work with Lilith? You said, you know, she works through other people, but do you work with her daily, or how does your practice with her kind of look like, if you're willing to share a little glimpse into that?
So I work with her. She's on my altar. She gets her offerings. She gets candles and incense. I put my energy into there, to that whole ambience. And also she gets sex offerings. You know, it could be through solo activity, it can be with a partner. She actually loves that offering, and that's something that as a male we're able to provide that for her. She enjoys that, she benefits from that. And if you are a male and you are watching this video, the next time that you reach that point, do your offering and dedicate it to Lilith, and I'm telling you, you will see results. It's something that she enjoys that, and we have to embrace it. So do that.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And because it is something that people need to know if they're feeling conflicted about it or not sure. That has been, you know, my experience as well, and with other people that I've talked about Lilith with, you know, and that's something that she does really do appreciate, as well as, you know, it doesn't always have to be that. It could be whatever you're moved to do, but she does enjoy that as well. There are some mythologies about Lilith where she preys upon men at night and gives them erotic dreams. And from that, she will take their energy and continue to do so even after the dream is over. What are your thoughts on that story?
That's very interesting. That kind of leads into like this vampiric type entity, and I do not agree with that. I have never had that experience with her. I think that things like that, if they do happen, they're happening to individuals that are abusive, that take advantage, that are very hurtful with that feminine energy. It could be a person in their life. It can be a collective group of women. I don't know. I have never experienced that with the ancients and with Lilith. I have never experienced nothing negative, nothing evil, nothing mean. It's all love and this welcoming energy. So I've read stories like that about people having that, and I don't know, that could be something that they most likely opened up a channel that they weren't supposed to be opening. And it could be workings that they did without being prepared. And when you work with Lilith or any ancient, you have to be respectful. You have to be humble. You have to be very open-minded. And there's a lot of individuals that tend to use this path for personal gain. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they take notice of that, the ancients and Lilith. And they understand your intent. They know your heart. They know your mind. They know your spirit. So for you to embrace them and be very, well, have those experiences that are like that, are very attackful, it's because you're doing something wrong or you did something wrong.
Thank you for sharing that. I agree. And that's an interesting point that you brought up. If she does present herself like that in a dream, or the experience is that of being attacked, you know, I agree. There probably is a reason for it. You know, either it's a wake-up call to change. You know, are you a Luciferian as well?
I am, yes.
Okay,
yes.
and do you practice any of the works by Michael W. Ford?
Yes, I actually have a few of his books, and I actually met him. I was part, well, actually, I was not part. I participated by going to the event in Portland, back in 2018, we had the Black Flame convention, and there was a collection of speakers, and I actually had a awesome chance to meet with him. His energy is also very welcoming. He's very skilled. He knows a lot about this path. So also through his books is how I really got into this path, and just understanding Lucifer, understanding the whole aspect behind that philosophy, both being atheistic or just being more of a philosophical approach. It just answered a lot of questions for me.
Absolutely. And I agree. His energy he commands quite a presence, and
yes, he does.
Yeah. And he is a wonderful person, very knowledgeable.
Yes.
And the Black Flame, I don't know if you're aware, they're doing an online thing this year in January, just to put that out there. It should be interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there are these derogatory terms in which the harlot, the whore, the sacred whore, these sort of terms. I know for myself, it was really challenging when I first started the practice because I didn't find that empowering. I struggled with it. And so I'm wondering, did you experience such a thing? And how do you work around or work with that?
So yes, I saw those terms and I don't use them. Just because for me, it doesn't feel right to me. And just approaching Lilith in that sense, from my perspective, the way I work with her it's not that fashion. I know that a lot of people do. A lot of people have that type of connection with her in which they use those terms, and they're more of that rustic, raw way. And there's times in which I am that way, and I can be that way. But I'm a very calm, relaxed individual. So for me to use those terms, especially with her, for me, that flow doesn't work, but for others, it does. And if it helps them grow, more power to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just curious because for me, Lilith appears, mostly as a mother figure, a mother energy. And so to use those terms, I was like, I can't, and through meditation, she taught me that, well, no, the people that use these terms, they do it to empower her. Taking that word back in a way a lot of people do. Some people are taking back the word slut and making it a positive, trying to, and things like that. And I understand. So once I understood that, it helped it sit right with me, but I still don't use those words. And that's the beautiful thing about the left-hand path. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, it has to be personally meaningful. And that's the beauty of it.
And embrace the carnal, embrace that aspect of being human, because we have desires, we have feelings, we have things that is part of the whole human experience, and embrace her that way too. I'm not saying not to, because I do that sometimes, but I don't do it with those terms. I do it differently.
Yeah. So for someone who is curious about starting to work with Lilith and they're wondering how she may present herself, if you had to describe her to someone brand new and what her energy feels like, how would you describe her?
I would say that she has a very deep mother love. She has a very welcoming trait about her in which she does not judge. She accepts you for who you are, both being male and female. She allows you to be yourself around her, which is key too. She allows a person to explore more about themselves in every way. She's a good ancient energy to truly start expanding your gnosis. And if a beginner were to ask me, what's the first step? Easy. It's the first step I tell every single person that reaches out to me. First, have an open mind. Dedicate some time. It could be 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Dedicate a time in which you can just talk to her. You can talk to her out loud. You can talk to her through your mind. You can use a candle, you can use incense, you can use both, you can use drinks as an offering, you can use food. It's up to you. There's no right way and there's no wrong way, but do it in a way in which you feel the most comfortable. That's going to give you the best outcome for you to understand.
I agree. I think with Lilith, you don't have to be perfect. She sees you, flaws and all, and she accepts you, flaws and all, but just be pure. Don't try to be deceptive or
don't be fake.
like that. No, it's not going to go well. So just, bring yourself to the altar. So thank you so very much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure to be able to talk with you finally.
Yes, Maggie. No, thank you for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to be in your channel. I love your channel. I love seeing all the interviews. I love seeing your experiences. And most importantly, I like seeing your growth. I've seen the transition of when you started as of now and up to now. And I can tell you that you have a very powerful energy that allows the beginner, intermediate, expert, whichever level of practice you have, just to have that very warm connection. And sometimes we need that, and you provide that. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
And until next time, I wish you dark and wild blessings.